Welcome, guys. It's prediction time again, and we are going to talk about the festive fixtures this weekend as we are going to be looking forward to Arsenal versus Liverpool. We're going to be looking at West Ham, and we're going to be looking at the fixtures that are going to take place today and tomorrow. Now, we are going to start off with Crystal Palace against Brighton. This is a derby game, a game that is very important for both sides. Brighton need to get themselves back on track. And Crystal Palace, coming off of a very good, credible draw against Manchester City, despite it looking very improbable at one point, managed to salvage a 2-2 draw. Now, in this game, I am going to go for a Brighton and Hove Albion win. I'm going to have them win this game 2-1. I think that Brighton are a side that needs the points simply to just keep getting their season going. Their performance against Arsenal was not bad, but Arsenal were very good at home. It seemed as though Arsenal had a chip over their shoulder and they wanted to prove a point after being dominated last season against Brighton. As far as Crystal Palace, I am having trouble seeing them doing well this season just because there doesn't seem to be this spark in their team. And I think some people have started picking up on what I've been saying for a while as far as the confidence that Roy Hodgson has as far as what they've been doing so far. And I just can't see them doing too well against Brighton, who I think are going to overpower them. Maybe the Selhurst Park crowd is going to be able to get them up for this game. But at this point, I'm worried for them. And I'm going to have Brighton and Hove Albion winning this game 2-1. And then tomorrow, Aston Villa take on Sheffield United. Now, we all know how bad Sheffield United have been so far this season, and we know how good Aston Villa have been at home. And it is for that reason that I think they're going to keep this run going, and they're going to get their 16th and record-breaking win against Sheffield United at home. And I think it's going to be 2-0. I just can't envision why they would be able to lose this against Sheffield United. Football is a funny, odd game, and this might be the time when it comes to a halt. Especially after beating Manchester City and beating Arsenal, you would expect for that run to keep on going against lowly Sheffield United. And I'm going to just fall in place and think that they're not going to spur this chance. They are going to take it, and maybe the teams after that, somebody's going to stop it at one point. But I don't think it's going to be Sheffield United. 2-0. West Ham take on Manchester United as the first fixture on the weekend, and I am going to go surprisingly with a Manchester United victory. I think that Manchester United have proven to themselves in their last game against Liverpool that they can contain a good side. Despite how many chances Liverpool had, Manchester United were able to ride through the game, and they should take some heart from that. The fact that they had come off such a bad week, losing at home to Bournemouth and being dumped out of Europe, they should take some heart from their fixture against Liverpool because they played well as far as their defensive ability came to the fore. Now, they didn't do much going forward, and maybe they could have nicked it with a couple of half chances that they had, but I think that they should carry some of what happened to that game into this West Ham game. And West Ham themselves had just gotten demolished over the week against Liverpool, matter of fact, yesterday. And they should try and use that as something that should spur them on to win this game. So I think that Manchester United, who also seem to have a very good record against West Ham, at West Ham, they should be able to try and take this game. So I'm going to give it to them 2-1. And then Tottenham take on Everton in a game that should be very interesting. Everton surprisingly have a very good away record. They have done very well on the road. Tottenham, on the other hand, have been doing pretty well themselves most recently. They managed to win their last 2 games after going 5 games without a victory and playing at home in front of their fans at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'm going to back them to win this game 3-1. I think Everton will cause them some problems, and Tottenham will, of course, try to play that free-flowing football that we know Ange Postecoglou has been putting out. But I don't think that Everton have enough firepower to take them down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now, anything can happen because Sean Dyche has gotten his players playing with an unbelievable amount of confidence, and they are believing as though they can take down anybody that is brought in front of them. So I'm going to have them lose this game, but I do think that it's going to be a very interesting watch, especially with how Tottenham play and how possibly they could leave themselves open for an Everton team that is rife for a counterattack. We saw them do this against Brighton before when they went and won 5-1 at the Amex in a game that nobody gave them a chance or any prayer of winning. Maybe that could happen again in this game. But if Tottenham play exactly the way that we know that they can play, they should be able to take this game. And I am going to give it to them 3-1. Nottingham Forest, who have just fired their manager Steve Cooper, who some feel has been let go unfairly, especially since he's done such a very good job in bringing them and keeping them in the Premier League, are going to be facing Bournemouth. Bournemouth is a team revitalized, and they've been playing very well recently. They are coming off of a game that they were tying 1-1 at the moment against Luton Town, and unfortunately the Luton Town captain collapsed, and that brought an end to this game. It's a good thing to hear that he is in stable condition and that he's doing well, and that the game will be replayed at a later date. However, Bournemouth have been doing very well. They had just beaten Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford the week before, so they are very high on confidence. In this game, I am going to bet on them to beat Nottingham Forest 2-1. The new manager bounce has not taken effect yet. We don't know how they are going to respond to the new manager that's going to come in. And right now, there's a little bit of uncertainty in Nottingham Forest's team. And I think that Bournemouth have a decent amount of stability. I never thought I would be saying this at this point of the season because Iraola looked like a dead man walking after the first 9 games of the season. But he has been able to turn his fortunes around. And I think he's going to keep on doing it against a Nottingham Forest side that is bereft of confidence and that do not have a vision for their team yet, especially with the new manager still to come in. Fulham against Burnley. Now, of recent, Burnley have a decent record against Fulham, but in this game, I am going to go against the grain, and I am going to go for a 2-0 Fulham win. Burnley is still struggling under Vincent Kompany, and whether or not you want to talk about their style of play and whether they need to switch it, and the fact that Vincent Kompany has been questioned over and over about it, and he keeps on talking about the fact that he is still in the school of Pep Guardiola and that he's going to use the same system that got him into the Premier League in such a beautiful fashion last season as far as the championship is concerned. He is going to keep persisting with this system. And I do think that Fulham, who of late have been playing very well, despite losing their last game 3-0 against Newcastle, I think that Fulham are going to be able to take this game. They had been playing very well prior to that, and despite that small dip in Newcastle, they should be able to take this game. I am going to let them win this game 2-0. I think that they have a more settled squad than Burnley. They have a more adept squad to the Premier League than Burnley, and what a way to showcase it than to beat them at home. So 2-0 to Fulham. Luton Town take on Newcastle. So Luton have been playing pretty well of late, and despite a couple of losses to the 2 top teams at the end of the Premier League, they managed to get a 1-1 draw at the point of the abandonment of their game. Now, Lockyer seems to be doing well, and we are all hoping that he comes through this unscathed. And now whether he will continue playing football after his second diagnosis of a heart failure, we don't know. But all the best to him and his family. Now, as far as this game pertains to Newcastle, I am going to go for a Newcastle 2-1 victory. Now, Newcastle have a ton of problems. They have a lot of issues. And right now, they are not getting the results that they want to. They just got dumped out of Europe. Kieran Trippier is having a nightmarish run of games, and that seems to happen every once in a while. Now, maybe Luton can be able to take advantage of this game, but unfortunately, I'm going to side with Newcastle simply because Eddie Howe has been able to just get his team going whenever they need to get going. And against a Luton Town team who are going to absolutely bring their A game in this game, I do not expect it to be easy for Newcastle, but I do think that they are going to be able to come through this, and I am going to give them this game 2-1. And then next up, a game that every Arsenal fan is looking forward to, but is also dreading at the same time. The fixture at Anfield is a fixture that any team who goes to Anfield is deathly afraid of, especially after we saw what Liverpool were able to do to West Ham, taking out their frustrations from a 0-0 draw against Manchester United. Now, I am going to try and be as objective as I can in my prediction, and I'm going to go for an Arsenal 2-1 victory. It's about time Arsenal did something at Anfield. Now, last season's performance was very good in the first 30 minutes of that game. Arsenal were very, very electric. They were calm and composed. Now, some people wanted to blame Granit Xhaka for his bust-up with Trent Alexander-Arnold as to the reason why Arsenal ended up capitulating eventually in the game and tying the game 2-2, but I don't think that that's what it is. Anfield is just an incredibly hard ground to win at. And if Arsenal are able to do that, they will further enhance their title credentials. Now, I think it's going to be a very, very tall order, but I do think that this Arsenal team is capable of at least getting another draw, or this time going a step forward and winning at Anfield. Now, Arsenal have a woeful record ever since Jurgen Klopp took over at Anfield. They have not won, and they have been perennially getting thumped at Anfield. But last season's performance was very positive, and despite the fact that they didn't have Saliba in that game, and they're going to have him in this game, and the fact that they didn't have a Declan Rice in that game, you would hope that Arsenal would be able to carry that same performance last season into this game. Now, I am very well aware of the fact that Liverpool can turn it on, and they are a little bit wounded after the Manchester United game. Maybe their ego is a little bruised, and that they will bring their A game. Absolutely. This game is not going to be the same as the Manchester United game, because Manchester United went to Anfield with a clear game plan of trying to stifle Liverpool as much as they can, simply because they knew that they could not compete with them at a level pegging. Arsenal will believe that they are able to compete with Liverpool at a level pegging. Now, it's going to be a battle of the defenses. Both of them are extremely good defensively, especially shown by the fact that both of them have in and around the same goals conceded, and they have in and around the same goal difference. So whoever wins this game is not going to be knocked out of the title running. I don't believe so. It's still too early to call that. But they are going to mentally inflict something in their opponents if they're able to win it. And if Arsenal are able to beat Liverpool, this will give them unbounding confidence. As well, if Liverpool are able to beat them, they can now say, hey, we are now settling into the team that we have been trying to build over the last 5 or 6 months, and long may it continue. And maybe if we're able to go to the Emirates, and if we're able to beat Manchester City when they come to Anfield, you never know what Liverpool are able to do this season. But I am going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal victory, and hopefully Arsenal are able to put this long, dismal run at Anfield away. And then finally, we have Wolves against Chelsea. I'm going to predict this to be a 1-0 Wolves victory. Wolves have played very well against teams that are the traditional top 6 sides. They played very well against Manchester United despite losing. They played well against Arsenal despite losing. They played well against Manchester City and won. And they played well against Liverpool despite the fact that they ended up losing 3-1. Now, I do think that Chelsea is not in the same bracket as any of the teams that I've mentioned, other than Manchester United. But I do think that Wolves, especially at home, should be able to inflict a lot of damage on Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are a team that are still trying to get into their groove. We've spoken about this a lot, and whether they're going to be able to take advantage of a Wolves side at home is going to be questionable, because Wolves are very good at home. And Gary O'Neill is a very good manager. He is a very good manager. And some people thought that Bournemouth would be kicking themselves for letting him go at the end of last season. But Bournemouth themselves seem to have had a good replacement in Iraola, despite the fact that it took him very long to get going. But Wolves should be able to cause Chelsea a lot of problems. And the reason why is because they have a very good, consistent front line. The likes of Cunha are playing very well. Their midfield, despite losing Ruben Neves, has been playing very well. And they always come into games believing that they can win. And this is one game that I believe they can win. And for that reason, I'm going to have them beating Chelsea 1-0. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Am I off? Are my Arsenal tinted glasses making me see something that you guys don't? Let me know in the comments down below. It's been your boy Izzy. And as always, thank you for watching. Peace.